there, my name's Kirsten. This is the Paper Knits Podcast, episode number 21. I'm a knitter in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and here I get to talk about all of the things that I'm making. I didn't film that long ago. I had a really long break and then, didn't film that long ago, just a few weeks, but I've been feeling motivated to get back on here again and share some of the things that I've been working on. I have done quite a bit of knitting in the last couple weeks, including this sweater to show off for you. So yeah, first only FO, but this is my finished Alchemy pullover. This is a pattern by Knit California, and it's based on a sweater that Taylor Swift wore a couple years ago, year and a bit ago, to an important football game. Leslie of Knit California kind of like reworked it then into a hand knitting pattern. So it's DK weight, it's top down, drop shoulder, and it's got an interesting kind of detail stitch along the shoulder line and then down the sides as well, and then also kind of an interesting decrease on the sleeves. Pretty simple pattern to follow, like very nicely laid out. I don't think Leslie has that many patterns. Let me check. Oh yeah, she has one other sweater, the California sweater. I remember that. That was her first sweater pattern. And I think she's working on a tank top right now that's, I think, in testing. Anyways, very nicely laid out pattern. Like, I guess maybe especially then for like a new designer, like very nicely laid out pattern. Had a couple little spots where it was like, you know, a little tip about like how to keep track of your increase round, I think, or something, very easy to follow, which is always nice. And I knit mine in Retrosaria Brusca, which is a very light and woolly yarn. It is soft but not super soft and has bits of hay in it that I have been picking out. I need to go back in with I was like going through my tweezers to like pick it out of the ones I missed while I was knitting it. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a rustic yarn. I think I said this last time. I had blocked the body last time and most of the sleeve, I guess. And the water was a bit dirty, which was like maybe a little bit disconcerting, but the fabric that it makes was so lovely. Like when I unpinned it from my blocking mat and like took it off, like you could just tell, like it was so like it had just bloomed really nicely and it was really drapey. It's very light. I used like exactly 8 skeins of yarn, so it's 400 grams. They're just 50 gram balls, and so yeah, it feels very light but like still warm. I really like it. I would like absolutely use this yarn again. I have my other project, I'm using some other Brusca, like old stuff from my stash, and it doesn't have bits of yarn or bits of hay in it. And so maybe it was just this particular batch. It's just like extra farm fresh or something. But anyways, yeah, I didn't mind it. Like it's like a bit of a pain, like picking it out as you're knitting. And like my hands felt a bit dusty after like knitting with it. I'm not selling it, but like the experience of knitting with it was very nice. The fabric that it makes is very nice. I still like highly recommend. It's affordable. Yeah, I like it. Although one thing that twice now I have, the neckband is folded over and then I like whip stitched it down, and twice now I have popped that thread. And so second time this morning when I put it on. And so I've already repaired it one time. I think I need to get a stronger yarn to go back and like whip stitch it down, because clearly this is not working. Like it's very stretchy. I can fit it over my head just fine. I was not being careful enough apparently, and I popped it again this morning. So like as you're like pulling it over your head and you just hear this like pop. Not great. So that's the only thing. It's like it's very easy to pull apart, and obviously not strong enough to like do that little tiny seam-ish thing of like folding down the neckband. So anyways, okay, what else about it? One thing that I changed is on the back shoulder where the like as you're shaping the back panel, there are increases on each row, right side and wrong side, and that makes those increases quite visible. It almost looks like eyelets, like running all the way down those seams, and I didn't like that. think I had gotten the front panels attached and like joined in, and then I went back and I used my crochet hook and like put a little crochet chain up those increased edges just to see if I could hide it, and it worked great. And it's just like my personal preference. I had noticed it on this sample and then on like other people's that I've seen. I just like, it doesn't look to me like it belongs. And because then later when that pattern continues, like down the side, like you don't have that gap anymore because you're not doing increases anymore. And so just like for consistency's sake, I wanted it to look more filled in. And so that worked really great, just to like put a little like chain stitch up that, that shoulder like angle. And I just like, you know, wove in the ends on either side, and like, it was great. So that was one thing. I'm also finding, like, I had blocked it to make sure my sleeves were long enough. I'm not sure that they are. It's feeling like I want them to be maybe a little bit longer. And I don't know if I like the decrease feature of it, which is like, it's this because that's what it matches the Taylor Swift sweater. And so you knit for like quite a few inches before you do any decreases. And then it has this like very distinct line of decreases on the outside of the arm versus, you know, having them run down the underside of the arm. I think it makes the sleeve like twist maybe a little bit. I think that I know this like drop shoulder style is like super popular, and I do have other ones that I like the fit of, but I don't think it's my favorite fit. I think it feels like it's not quite sitting right on my body. And so yeah, I feel like a little bit like the sleeves are just like have maybe a little bit of a twist to them, and I might reknit them. I'm not sure. Like, I had been wanting to avoid doing that, which is why I blocked it and wanted to make sure that it was like all fine. It definitely like feels better after blocking. The back shoulder seam also relaxed a little bit. It was a little bit bunchy. And so like that relaxed really nicely. It like helped it fit like across the shoulders really nicely. But yeah, I think I just maybe don't like the style of the sleeve very much. I have been like wearing it like pulled up, like when I'm just out and about around my house kind of thing. But then when it's down, they just feel kind of funny. So I don't know if I don't know if it bugs me enough for me to like reknit the whole sleeve and like then do it more like a standard, you know, knit for an inch and then like start doing some standard decreases like down the underside. I do have a lot of yarn left over. We bought this yarn for a different project and have more than I needed for this one. Like, I could either just rip this out and then reknit it with that same yarn, or I could just like cut this off and then, you know, grab my new balls of yarn. So I'm not sure. I will see. If that is something that I do, it probably will not be anytime soon because I don't want to. Like, I will want to work on other things. I've been wearing it a lot. Like, it's a good spring layer. I wore it one day to pick up the kids before it got cold again. And it was like not quite warm enough that day for me to like not have an actual coat on. But I was like, I want to wear my woolly sweater. And it was fine. We like got a big winter snowstorm last week. So we had like fake spring, had winter again, warmed up, back to snow, snowfall warning. I don't know how many inches it ended up snowing here in Edmonton, but like a lot. Roads were really bad. We drove down on the weekend, down to my parents' house, and they were fine by that point. Thankfully, the roads were dry, but there was a lot of cars in the ditch that had like over the previous like couple days had hit the ditch and had yet to be pulled out of the ditch. Not great. But by next weekend, it's supposed to be like 14 degrees, and then the next day it said 17 degrees. So I'll be surprised if it actually makes it to 17. But yeah, all this snow that we just got won't last. Also, it's like a very Canadian / Albertan thing to like have like, oh, look, it's spring. No, it's winter again. Just kidding. Oh, maybe it'll spring again. No, it's winter again. But also it's like a very Albertan thing to say like, oh, you know what though? We really needed this moisture. So this like last snowfall is like, that'll be good. That'll be good for the crops. So yeah, It's fine. We know that this is how it goes. I for sure almost biffed it this morning taking my kids to school. It had like so much snow fell. It had warmed up enough that it started to melt, and now it's just ice. And yeah, I almost biffed it on the sidewalk taking my kids to school, and they start laughing. Like, that would not have been funny. That would have been a bad one. But I was okay. So anyways, okay. Enough about the weather. I think that's all I wanted to say about the sweater. I will report back in like 6 months from now. Oh, there's Birdie. Where are you gonna go? I don't like it when you climb on that side, okay? If I decide to change the sleeves, I will talk about that when the time comes. So, okay, that's my FO. My other big accomplishment this last couple of weeks is I have finished all of the dark purple of my half and half triangles wrap. So I am officially halfway done. I have my half of my half and half triangle. I was going to put it on a longer cord so you could kind of see it better. This is the diagonal. This is the cast on edge down here. And then this is the diagonal that I have been knitting. This is useless. I'm not showing you anything helpful here. But I'm so proud of it, and so I want to show you. It felt like, oh, you know what? I'm sewing it sideways. It doesn't matter. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. This is the cast on edge down here. This is what I've been knitting back and forth to get to this triangle. This is the part I just finished that is still attached to my ball. Anyways, it was enjoyable until about here. And then all of this, I was like, okay, I'm almost done. Like, I can do it. Just keep going. And so I think that this is going to have a little bit of a break now. This is the other color that I will be adding in. This one's called Purple Smoke. This one's called Deep Petunia. And so I think that these will look very lovely. I'm like very excited to, there's like added dopamine by like starting with another color. But I think I just need a little bit of a break. Half and half triangles wrap by Pearl Soho. Half done. Lots of knitting. This is how much I have left of the third skein, which is like maybe half. Oh yeah, 40 grams left. So I used 2 full skeins and a bit more than half of the third skein. I haven't checked my gauge. I don't know where it's at. It's feeling very large, which also means that I can use it more like a blanket instead of just like a big shawl. And so I will be I'm very much looking forward to this being done. It just needs to be on a little bit of a break. I'm going to update my Ravelry progress on that one. I am 50% done. Okay, so in the meantime, I have cast on another sweater, and once I started working on it, I was like, oh, this is like literally the same thing as the half and half triangles wrap. It is garter, simple knit back and forth with short rows. It's like that is exactly what the half and half triangles wrap is, but this is a sweater. It's just like similar stitch pattern. So I am making the Riggy's Cardi by Gudrun Johnston, which is from the Grand Shetland Adventure Knits book, which is by Gudrun Johnston and Mary Jane Mucklestone, and their patterns inspired by Shetland. And I am a little bit obsessed with Shetland and just like the culture and the vibe. I had joined for a sort of like an online like lecture that the authors did, talking about their book, talking about kind of the story of like their friendship, and they used to do tours, like knitting tours around Shetland. Gudrun was raised there for part of her life. Her mom was a knitwear designer in Shetland. Gudrun Johnston has a podcast that she started just in the fall, I think, or like right before the new year. And I just watched like all of the episodes, like in the last 2 weeks. And they're very lovely. Obviously she's a very popular designer. I just like really like her vibe. I did a test knit for her last year, and it's called a Lumu cardigan, and I vlogged my whole process of like from like swatching to finishing the sweater so that I could edit it and post it, and I never have. And I am going to still. I started editing it a couple weeks ago. And so that was the only pattern by hers I've knit before. And it was like lovely. I really liked the cardigan from that one. Anyways, this time is the Riggy's Cardi. Here's a picture. I have a kind of like throw over anything, wear around the house cardigan that I wear every single day, pretty well. And I wanted to have my own knit version of it. And so that's what this is going to be. Last year I made the, what was that called? The Turtle Dove cardigan. And that was supposed to be my replacement for my like store-bought one. But I don't love it. It's really stretched out funny. I wear it, but it's not like the vibe that I wanted. So this was, when I saw this pattern in the book, I was like, this is exactly what I want. There's like a handful of other patterns in this book that I really want to knit too. And so I might, like, we'll see. The shawl on the front is one of them. And then, oh yeah, this vest, the Island to Island vest, that's the one Tracy from the Grocery Girls knit it in this past year. That one has also been on my list. And then there's another sweater by Mary Jane Mucklestone. That's really cool. Well, they're all cool. I like all of the patterns in this book. Like, that's not common that I like them all. This one's called the Lynne V-neck. And so it has Fair Isle pattern around the neckline of the sweater, which I think is very cool. And I think it would be like an interesting technique. So that's another one too that I want to knit. But anyways, so here we go. This is knit in panels. And so you knit front panel of each side and also 2 back panels, and then they're all joined by like a 3-needle bind off. And so this is, I've got 3 of the 4 panels done. And so this is what I mean, like this is garter and this is shaped with short rows. And so this is basically like what the half and half triangles wrap is. That's what I mean. But this will be the shoulder. And so it's sideways garter. And then there's my other shoulder. Like that. And then these will be joined with the back, and then yeah, seamed along the top there. I just finished back panel yesterday, so I don't have it on my longer cable yet. But so this one then on the back panel, you knit a little bit just even, and then you start working the short rows for the shaping. So then when you put them together, these angled parts will line up, and that will be the shoulder. Very drop shouldered, very oversized, comfy, warm sweater. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Like with the back panel, you you cast on this many stitches, which is how long your cardigan will be. And then you just do garter back and forth to make the width of the panels. So yeah, next step is I'll make the other back panel. There's ribbing, so then you pick up on the like selvage edge and knit the ribbing down for each panel, and then you seam them together, and then you pick up for the button band or like the collar. So that's where that's heading. This has gone super quickly. Like I cast this on March 17th. I was expecting this, because it's quite large, oversized. I was expecting this to take a long time. It just really hasn't. It's very simple. It's just been going really quickly. So it is 17 stitch gauge, so that helps. And there's 3 sizes. The largest size is 66 inches. Yeah, it's meant to have 10 to 20 inches of positive ease. I'm knitting the second size with the third size length because I wanted it to be, the sweater that I have, that I wear every day, I want it to be just like smidge longer than that one. And so there's a note in the pattern about like you can kind of mix and match between the different sizes. And there's pockets on the front. Yeah, visible 3 needle bind off along the shoulders, center back, and side seams. And then you pick up for the sleeve stitches. So yeah, I think that this will be lovely. I am knitting this in Istex Fialalopi. I don't know how to say that word. Which is sport weight Icelandic wool. When I bought it, I thought it was DK. I bought this on a Boxing Day sale from Knitting Loft. And I bought it for this particular sweater in mind. Like I knew that this is what I wanted to make. And when I had swatched initially, I got gauge right away, which was nice. But the fabric was very open and not what I wanted. So like this yarn, because it was a little bit lighter than I realized, because it's actually sport weight, the fabric was more open than I wanted. And so I kind of put it on the back burner for a little while. I was planning to start this in January. And then I decided that I was going to hold like a lace weight yarn with it. And didn't want to do like mohair, and kind of hemmed and hawed about what I wanted. I ended up buying Sandisgarn alpaca. Again, another word I don't know how to say. I won't try that one. Which is lace weight alpaca. Yeah, 400 meters for 50 grams, 100% alpaca, produced in Norway. So holding this with this is what I'm doing. So I'm holding these two together. This one looks darker on the camera, or at least from my little screen, what I'm seeing. They're almost the same color. This is a little bit lighter, but they match really well. This is super soft, like very, very soft. And it is definitely softening this like kind of scratchy Icelandic wool. And just like filling in the gaps a little bit on the fabric. And so I'm really happy with that. And my sister-in-law, I'm sure this is what she used, this exact yarn, but she knit it single strand and made an entire sweater with it. I could not believe how small the gauge was. And it's beautiful, her sweater. And so that's why I knew about this yarn and knew that it was lovely. I got this from Galt House of Yarn, and I was trying to find this exact color. The other places that, like one of my local yarn stores sells it, but they didn't have this color. And so yeah, I ordered it from Galt House of Yarn. In the meantime, they were having a sale. I bought a sweater's quantity of a different yarn. So, because why not? Anyways, so this is turning out really lovely. I'm looking for, again, this will be a really lovely one to block. I'm looking forward to that. Just like how that softens everything up and just transforms this yarn a little bit. And I think that this will be, I'm hoping that this will be more what I was wanting in terms of like open, oversized cardigan that you just like throw over while you're around the house kind of thing. Not that I don't wear that other one outside of the house. It's just like primarily, I can't put a coat over top of it. That's why. So it's like, it's 3/4 sleeve and it's quite oversized. And so I can't wear a coat over it. So that's why I'm saying that I just wear it out in the house. So anyways, yeah, I just finished one of my back panels yesterday. I'll start with the next back panel. I'm trying to decide if I want to do the ribbing on pieces or if I want to seam it together first and then do the ribbing. I feel like I should just do what her pattern tells me to do. So yeah, that's the Riggy's Cardi. Hey. A lot of garter stitch happening the last couple of weeks, and which is fine. It's not been historically my favorite thing to knit. But it also has been relaxing. Okay, I have not touched my Traveler / Boulevardier sweater, so I won't talk about that. But I will show you the crochet project that I didn't have time to talk about last time, which I have in a little basket, just because that's where it ended up. But I am making the Agnes sweater vest by Bethany Lynne. This is a pattern that she initially developed as kind of like a recipe, and then recently like actually designed the full pattern for it. Like she has it for free on her blog, but then she designed the full pattern for it with different sizes and stuff. And it is crochet granny squares, seamed together, and then knitted bands to make a cute little vest. And so I have had this yarn sitting in a bin on my shelf across from my like knitting spot, and it was a bunch of leftover stuff that I haven't known what to do with, and it was starting to stress me out that I like had these like partial balls of yarn that I have a lot of that. It's like leftovers from projects. I'm not sure what to do with it. This is all very woolly. I have a couple plans for like a you know, the sea glass patterns by Wool and Pine. I have a couple of plans for, I'm going to do one of those sweater patterns with leftover sock yarn, but that's a bit of a different vibe with like superwash yarn. This is quite woolly, and I'm looking forward to this. Like, I've been loving my emery vest that I showed last time. I actually have another vest that I also cast on in the last week. Okay, so here's all the squares that I have done. I have 8 finished. They're all different so far. I don't know if that'll be the case going forward. There's probably some like math that will tell you that based on the number of colors I have. I was never good at that kind of math. And the pattern I think calls for 3 contrast colors and a main color. And I'm doing 4 contrast colors because that is what I had. Like, I didn't have enough. I still don't know if I actually have enough of what I'm using, because I'm kind of winging it. I did weigh it all, and then when I did my first square, I weighed to see how much yarn I would use every time, like every granny round, and like did a little bit of rough math to see if I have enough. Mostly what's important is that I have enough of the main color, because this is leftovers from my Rowan cardigan that I knit last year, and I have like 4 full skeins of it left over. My initial plan was to use this color for the main color, and I wasn't gonna have enough, and so yeah, changed to this gray. So this is Briggs & Little, I don't remember which base right now off the top of my head, Heritage. This is the Brusca, the other one that I was saying that I was using that does not have a bunch of hay in it, and this is left over from my shawl that I showed last time, whose name escapes me at this exact moment. This is other Retrosaria Mondim, or is this one Vovo? This one's Vovo. All of these I'm holding double. This one is Retrosaria Mondim. This one is Hills Vogue. These are all from, so this doesn't really matter, but I'm going to tell you anyways. These are both from my Var shawl by Fiber Tales. This is from that other shawl that I showed last time, that's name I can't remember, which was also by Fiber Tales. This one is Hills Vogue Tinned, which was from my, okay, now I want to find what the name of that sweater was called. Oh yeah, the Grip. Again, another word I'm not saying properly. Grip Chunky by Camilla Vad. That's what this is left over from. And yeah, this is yarn I've had staring at me for years, and now it is going to become something. Yeah, I initially started with these 3 colors, and then I decided, let's add in the green. If I need to add in another color, I will, if I'm not going to have enough of these. I think I need to make like 28 squares, maybe. I didn't actually buy the pattern. I am just using her free version on the blog. And my square isn't exactly the size of what was recommended anyways. So I'm winging it a little bit. I'm definitely like using her like initial, like, hey, I made this, here's how I made it. Do you want to make it too? Kind of explanation on her blog. Anyways, I've been following Bethany for a long time because she sews a lot and makes some really lovely things. And I've had this sweater vest saved then for a while, and I think it'll be cute. I hope it will be cute. This is the most crochet that I have done in ages. Can you see this? This is a big crochet blanket. This was before I learned to knit. my first year of university, I sat and crocheted a whole blanket. And I crocheted a blanket for when I was pregnant with my first. And I crocheted a couple of sweaters at that time. And have I really done anything since? I think I crocheted a snowman last year for my son's kindergarten teacher for Christmas. Was that crochet? I think it was. Anyways, I'm not an avid crocheter. I had to look up how to do a granny square. I repeatedly have messed it up, but it's super easy to rip back and it's fine. I can finish a granny square like pretty quickly and just like do one or two while I'm feeling bored of whatever else I'm working on. So yeah, that is coming along. I'm sure it'll be finished right in time for it to be too warm to wear it, but that's okay. Like I said, I have another vest pattern that I am currently working on, which probably also will not be done until it's too warm to wear. So last week, not last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess now. Last week was spring break for the kids. So the week before that, I had my therapy appointment. I have the best therapist in the whole world. I'm so grateful for her. But it was a tough therapy appointment. And really close to my therapist's office is the Fiber Nook. And so I hadn't been there in a while. And so I went over there. They have had this vest on, like a sample knit up in their shop for a while. And I kept seeing it when I would go into the store. And I keep seeing it on their social media. And that day I decided I'm gonna make that vest. So it's the Friday Slipover by Petite Knit. Their sample was knit in Issayer, I can't remember now. It's like a light fingering, I think. And then the Issayer silk mohair. And in this like lovely green color. And so I had initially grabbed both Issayer yarns. And then I saw this Holst Super Soft, which they also have a full like wall of. I've never used Holst Super Soft before. And I've wanted to. And I really like this green color. And then it pairs, I think, wonderfully with the silk mohair. I've heard that this Issayer silk mohair is like one of the best. It is so soft, like noticeably softer than other silk mohairs. 75% kid mohair, 25% silk. I don't know what the standard like difference is between ones. I have a skein here from Ancient Arts, which is also very nice. That's the same, 75-25. I don't use mohair a ton, and so I don't know. I have the Sandnes Garn one here, but I don't have the label, so I don't know what the breakdown is of it. But like, very different feeling. The price point reflects that. I think it's like pretty spendy. It was a treat for myself that day. I balanced it out with the Holst because that's pretty affordable. But anyways, so I'm just like recreating this vest sample that they have at the Fiber Nook in this lovely green color, and yes, I am excited for it. So this is my back panel. While I was like in the store and then I've seen this vest hanging there, and then I was like, wait, what is it though? Like they have the tag. So I went and looked. I was like, oh, the Friday Slipover by Petite Knit. I was like, have I made that before? No, I haven't. But I've made a baby sweater, Friday, I don't remember what it's called now. Friday sweater or something, which I had made when I was pregnant with Beth. And I didn't super like it. It's fine. It turned out fine. But it like reminds me a little bit of a dishcloth. And part of that is maybe like I used white and blue, like it's white and blue stripes. And the yarn I used was cotton bamboo silk blend. And yeah, it wasn't my favorite thing that I've ever knit. And so when I saw that that's what this pattern was, I was like, oh, do I want to knit that again? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm wearing a dishcloth. But with the woolly wool and then the mohair, I don't think it's going to feel like a dishcloth. And I did look up for some other like slipover patterns and stuff. But I just really wanted this one. So it's fine. It's going fine. I want to say is it like a broken rib or, yeah, broken rib. That's what the texture is on it. So anyways, a part of what I really like about this is just how the details of the shaping and stuff is nice. And yeah, it's making it very lovely. It's just like, it feels lovely to knit. I'm almost done my increases on the back panel, and then I'll pick up on the front and then like, you know, knit down. One thing I'm going to try and do is lower the neckline, because it's a quite of a high neckline. And I noticed in some of the pattern, again, some of the projects on Ravelry, people commenting that it was too tight, like hard to get over their head too tight. And so I am going to try and lower it a little bit, which I had done on my emery vest, and don't super know how to do that, but have an idea of how to do that. Like, I very much have an idea of how to do that, but I don't know if it's the proper way to do it. That's what I mean. Anyways, that's been the other thing that I've been working on. And I'm excited for it. So that's everything. That's everything that I've been working on. Just one other thing I wanted to show, because I just got it this weekend. So I was supposed to go to the Grocery Girls Canmore retreat at the start of February. I signed up like the day that it went out for sale and was very excited about it. And then it was a few days before that is when I lost the baby. And so I did not go. But my sister-in-law went. She couldn't go for the whole weekend. But she went to the cable class with Sari Nordland. And then she went to the market. And so they had swag bags for the participants at the for the retreat. And so she got a swag bag, but it was mine, whatever. Anyways, she just like, her name's also Kirsten. So like my proxy Kirsten went to the retreat in my place. There's a very lovely viewer named Claudia who, hi Claudia. She also went to the retreat, and we were going to be able to meet in person. And I was bummed that I didn't get to do that, but I will say hi Claudia, and thank you for all of your support. You're very kind. Anyways, my sister-in-law, we just saw them on the weekend. And so, she had got me a couple of skeins, as kind of like a consolation prize for me that I couldn't go, and I was bummed about not going. And so, yeah, these are from Numana, and the color's called Meet Me in Lacombe, which I was going to look up. I'm guessing that this is one of their show colorways from the Prairie Fiber Festival, which is in Lacombe. But anyway, this is like, could you not find yarn that's any more perfect for me? Blues and purples and lovely. And so, yeah, Kirsten bought those for me. And then a couple of lovely stitch markers from Ocean Loops, which is one of the things that had been on my list. If I had gone, that's what I would have bought. So let me show you those. Very lovely, delicate little stitch markers. I have seen Ocean Loops at like fiber festivals before, but I've never bought anything. And yeah, my sister-in-law treated me to those. So, and then yeah, there was just a couple other like little swag kind of items. There's a little like notebook. There's a little like leather notions pouch with the Grocery Girls label on it, or like logo, I mean. Some Kick-Ass caramels, which they're local to Edmonton, I think, but I'm not sure. A little spiral stitch holder. Oh yeah, Kirsten got me a couple other, some little stitch stoppers from Ocean Loops as well. And then there was another little set that came. And then a little garment tag thing from Brick Bubble, which is another local maker here in Alberta. So, and then yeah, in this little project bag, kind of drawstring pouch. So, yeah, I'm sad that I could not go that weekend. I was really looking forward to it, and just life, obviously. And so I was glad that, like, I couldn't just cancel because it was too late. And so I'm glad that my sister-in-law was able to go and like still like take part in some of it, and collect my swag bag for me. So, and then get me a few extra treats. So yeah. All right. That's everything. My kids are back in school this week. Like they had spring break last week, and they were actually only home here for a couple of days because then they went to Grandma and Grandpa's house. And they have the best time at Grandma and Grandpa's house. They went swimming twice. They play a bunch of games. They play crazy ping pong in the basement. They have a lot of fun at Grandma and Grandpa's house. And so I had a few days of complete silence at home, which is helpful for my brain. So thanks, Mom and Dad. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for taking my children. And so yeah, then we went back to pick them up, and my whole family got together, and there was a lot of family birthdays like between January and now. And so we had a kind of birthday celebration for all, I think 7 out of 10 people, we decided. Me and my husband and my sister-in-law are in the summer, but everybody else is like in this start of the year. So anyways, that's why then I saw my brother and sister-in-law. And then, oh yeah, also my other brother and sister-in-law went and met somebody in Calgary. That they live in Calgary. And there was somebody selling a drum carter who was going to be in Calgary. I think they live somewhere else in southern Alberta. And they were going to be in Calgary. And so I sent my sister-in-law to go and meet this person to buy this drum carter. And that was also back in February. And I haven't seen them since. And so now I have a new drum carter in my possession. Not new, new to me. And so I am looking forward to, doing some, just like playing with that a bit. I have plans to buy some fleece at a show coming up here soon. Actually, I also just signed up for the shearing day at Providence Lane Homestead, which is a farm close to Cochrane. So it's about 3 hours from me. And they have like a public shearing day. And so you can come and watch and help skirt fleeces, and you can buy a fleece afterwards. And so I still have my lamb fleece from Riverside Farms from last year that I feel too precious about to be my first time like processing and carding and spinning a fleece. And so maybe this one too, that I will have like met the sheep in person and like seen it be sheared and like touched its fleece right off its back, will also feel too precious. But I'm planning to come away with a fleece from that. That's in a couple of weeks from now. And then yeah, there's a show coming up here soon that I'm thinking we'll have some fleeces as well. So I hope that I will feel motivated to finally just like bite the bullet, learn how to wash a fleece, not feel so concerned that I'm going to immediately wreck it. Part of my deterrent has been, some people say that you should not wash a fleece and then pour the water into your pipes because of the lanolin and that it can clog the pipes. Other people say whatever, it's probably fine. Like me washing one little fleece probably is not going to clog up my entire like sewer system. If this was your job and you were doing it every day, all day with like a bunch of greasy fleeces, then like, yeah, maybe. But I just felt like I wasn't sure if I should pour it down my sink. And so I have to pour it outside, and I'm not doing that in the middle of winter. And so now that it's warming up again, I can dump like fleecy water out in my yard instead of pouring it down my drain. So anyways, yeah, I say that that's why I have not yet washed the fleece I have. Also, I'm just kind of scared to wreck it. So anyways, okay, that's all for now. I feel like I could keep blathering on here, but I won't. I'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining me, and happy knitting. Bye.